Hello everyone, welcome to EduSure. How are you all? I am Dr. Sumal Pawar, and today we will start our foundational mathematical method for economics. So we will start with a very simple topic. And what is that simple topic? To understand the number system that we are working with. Because every time when you will be encountering problems, you will be dealing with numbers. So we should know the kind of numbers we have as students. Okay. So you must have heard the term real numbers all the time. So let's start with the concept of real numbers. Okay. So when we were little children and our parents wanted to teach us how to count, so they said, take one toffee, take two packets of chips, eat one banana. Nobody taught us the concept of half banana or one tenth of a toffee, something like that. We always talked in numbers, enumerability, counting. So one, two, three. So as students, we started with one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. Why? Because in real life, counting is the major issue. Okay, we should know how to count. So the first thing that we learned in school or as children, little children, was counting. So counting numbers for the first number that are introduced, and those numbers are called as natural numbers. Why natural numbers? Because counting is a very natural thing. Even if you don't go to school, you know how to count. Okay, so the first set of numbers that we know, they are natural numbers, and they are given by 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Now, of course, I cannot list all the natural numbers because you add one and you keep on increasing the list. Okay. Then came the concept of nothing. What do you mean by nothing? Nothing means zero. Okay. So I took 10 rupees from you. Okay. And I gave back, you 10 rupees. So what is the balance between us? Zero. So then came the concept of zero. So zero means nothing, or you can say neutral. Okay. So then the number zero was added to the list of natural numbers, and this list is known as the list of whole numbers. They are called whole numbers. Okay, so basically what is the meaning of zero? It is like, what should I add to 10 so that I get 10? So I add 0 to 10. I have 1000 rupees today in my pocket and I earn nothing more. So the next month also I'll have 1000. So if I'm not spending, if I'm not earning more, 1000 will remain 1000. So I add nothing to 1000. So I get 1000 again. So that is the concept of zero. Now came the concept of something known as negative. Now, what do you mean by negative? If you are a commerce student, so it's like, okay, so I have 10 rupees in my pocket. So I go to a shop. So I spend 2 rupees. Okay. So how much do I have? So I, subtract 2 from 10 and I get 8. Now, what is this concept of subtraction? So what is this minus 2? Minus 2 is like debit. And what was the credit? The credit was plus 10. So what is the balance? The balance is 8. So if you understand it like this, if I'm earning, it is plus, and if I'm spending, it is minus. So that minus takes us to the concept of negative integers. So negative integers. Okay. So what do you mean by negative integers? Negative integers are minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, and so on. So in fact, it is like you give a negative sign to all the natural numbers, you'll get negative integers. Okay. So now you have natural numbers. Now you have a zero added to it, which makes it whole numbers. And now you have negative integers. Now, when I combine these sets, okay, I get the set of integers. So what is the set of integers? 0, plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 3, and so on. So now this is how I grow. So I learn how to count, then I know the concept of nothing, then I know the concept of credit and debit. Now, what about fractions? Like, it's like half a banana. So half a banana. So you had a banana, for example, you cut into two equal parts. Okay. So this is one part, this is two, second part. So the total parts are two, and you want to eat half of it. So one part you want to eat. So this is the concept of half. So this is neither a natural number nor a negative integer. It is not zero also. So what it is? So these kind of numbers are known as rational numbers. Okay, so rational numbers are different. Okay, so obviously every natural number and every integer is a rational number, because what you are doing, suppose you take -2 as a negative integer, you divide it by 1, so it is of the form p upon q, where it is an integer divided by an integer. Okay, so what is the set of rational numbers? It is of the type p upon q, where p comma q are integers. Okay, obviously q is not equal to 0. We don't know how to divide by 0. Division by 0 is not defined in mathematics. It is nothing. Okay, so now this is the concept of rational numbers. Now if you look at rational number 1 upon 2, if I divide it, I will get 0.5. Suppose if you look at 1 by 5, if I divide it, I will get 0.2. So what are we getting? We are getting decimals. What are decimals? So there is a point, and after that point, I have some numbers. Okay. So what kind of decimals are they? They are terminating decimals. So what do you mean by terminating decimals? Terminating decimals are those which are ending somewhere. Okay, but if you look at 1 by 3, so 1 by 3 is 0.3333 and so on. So this is a repeating non-terminating decimal. What does it mean? This 0.33333 will keep on going. Okay, the decimals, the digits are never going to end, but the digit 3 is repeating. This is a non-terminating decimal. So what is in the alternate form of rational numbers? So what are rational numbers? ठीक है, what are rational numbers? They are of the form p by q, where p q are integers. Q is not equal to 0. You can either define it like this, or they are terminating decimals. Okay, and they are non-terminating but repeating decimals. Okay, so now I have added one more set. So what I have done, let's pay attention to what I have done. So we had the set of natural numbers. Okay, then I added a 0 to it, so I got a bigger set. This is called the set of whole numbers. Okay, then what we did, we added the negatives also, so we got a much bigger set, that is the set of integers. And then we took the ratio of rational numbers, so we got a much bigger set, the set of rational numbers. So from naturals we go to whole, from whole to we go to integers, from integers we go to the set of rational numbers. So this is how we develop our mathematics till class 8 or till class 9. Okay, and then the next thing that attacks us is, what do we have a number which is not in this category, which is something else? Yes. So if you talk about numbers like root 2, which are 2 is not a perfect square. Okay, so this is an irrational number because it is not under the category of rational number. Why this is an irrational number? Because I will never be able to write root 2 as quotient of two integers. For example, if I try to write root 2 is equal to p upon q, we will reach a contradiction. There will be some problem. Okay, so therefore root 2 is an irrational number. So what is the definition of an irrational number? So what is an irrational number? All the irrational numbers are non-terminating decimals but non-repeating. So you all have, 90% of you must have heard pi. Okay, if you've done mathematics, you must have heard the concept of pi. The area of a circle is pi r square. Now, pi is a very famous irrational number. Okay, and obviously till class 10, you used to write pi equals to 22 by 7. and 22 by 7 is a rational number, but pi is an irrational number. So basically what we have done, we have approximated pi to a rational number to ease our calculations, but pi is an irrational number. It is like 3.1452, and you must have heard stories about pi that these many digits of pi after decimal have been calculated by so and so person, and why there is no repetition of decimals, like units after the decimal. So that is why we are continuing. So it is a non-repeating, non-terminating decimal. So this is an irrational number. So what is our number system now? So our number system is natural numbers, then whole numbers, then integers, then rationals. And now there is a set irrationals which is called Q complement. Q complement means which is not Q, rational nahi hai. So there is a set of irrationals. Okay. So when I combine the set of rationals with the set of irrationals, I am going to get what I call the set of real numbers. So this is the entire story behind how real numbers were constructed. And obviously, why were they constructed? They were constructed as per our requirement. So we started with counting, then zero, then the concept of negatives, then we needed fractions also, then we needed irrationals also. So slowly, when people started building mathematics, the basics of mathematics, the axioms on which mathematics stands, we start building these numbers like this, and we get the concept of real numbers. And this is the story about real numbers. Okay. Now, so let me teach you how to represent real numbers on a number line. So you must have heard a concept which is known as number line. Okay. Now, why it is called a number line? Because when you talk about a line, we are talking about one dimension. What do you mean by one dimension? One dimension का मतलब होता है जो एक चीज में explain हो जाता है. For example, अगर मेरे पास कोई बहुत ही पतली तार है, so the dimension that that tar has is length. Okay. But if I have a pen which is this thick, so this has length and this has width also. So you can see that in fact it is three-dimensional. It has length, width, and height. Okay. So one dimensional. So number line is one dimensional. One dimensional means I can lay my numbers on a line. So there is no second dimension. Okay. So how do we represent numbers on a number line? Okay. Every number has a significance on the number line. At the middle of the number line, we will have nothing. That means zero. हमारे पास कुछ नहीं है. Okay. On the right hand side, we start placing the natural numbers that are positive integers at a distance 1 unit. तो अगर आपने scale देखा है जो 15 centimeters का होता है, उसमें there is a zero and after zero there is a one. Equidistant. Okay. So this is 2. So this is 3. This is 4 and so on. And on the left hand side of it, left hand side means equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So what is the opposite of 1? Minus 1. Mirror imaging. What is the opposite of 2? Minus 2. What is the opposite of 3? Minus 3. What is the opposite of 4? Minus 4. So what we are doing, we are placing 0 in the middle. It means nothing. Then plus 1 on the right and minus 1 on the left. Obviously this distance will be equal to this distance. This distance will be equal to this distance. So the number line is trying to teach you something, that I am placing 2 on the right hand side at a distance of 2 units from 0, and I'm placing minus 2 on the left hand side at a distance of 2 units from 0 on the left. Okay. So the negative is actually indicating direction. So if you add physics to it, if you have ever studied physics, so physics mein padhte hai na, what is a vector quantity which has magnitude as well as direction. So that is what we are trying to learn over here. Okay. So now, but ये तो line है और line तो continuous होती है. So but these numbers are at indicated points. Indicated points means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, and so on. So now, when the concept of rationals came, तो rationals कहाँ पर आएंगे? इनके बीच में. So for example, you want to place half, so half will be here. You want to place 3 by 2, 3 by 2 will be here. So this space in between will be filled by rationals and irrationals. So these spaces will be filled by Q and QC, दैट मीन्स रैशनल्स एंड इरेशनल्स। और वो ऐसे भरा जाएगा कि इस लाइन में कोई भी पॉइंट पे अगर मैं क्लिक करूंगी, आई विल गेट अ नंबर। इट विल आइदर बी रैशनल और एन इरेशनल। नाउ दैट इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ रियल नंबर्स। रियल नंबर्स आर कंटिन्यूअस इन नेचर। कंटिन्यूअस इन नेचर का मतलब I cannot lift my pen. There will be a number at every point on this number line. There will be a number. So real, there is no gap between real numbers. What do you mean by there is no gap between real numbers? If somebody asks you, you X, Y, or Z, please tell me what is the next number? What is the next number to one? वन के बाद क्या आता है? तो ऑब्वियसली एक केजी का बच्चा बोलेगा वन के बाद टू आता है। बट अगर आपसे कोई पूछे वन के बाद क्या आता है, आप नहीं बता सकते वन के बाद क्या आता है, बिकॉज रियल नंबर्स आर कंटिन्यूअस इन नेचर। आई रियली डोंट नो, बिकॉज इफ समबडी सेज वन के बाद ओके 1.5 आता है, तो 1.5 से पहले 1.4 आता है। कोई ये भी बोल सकता है, कोई ऐसे भी बोल सकता है अच्छा 1.1 भी तो आता है, फिर कोई बोल सकता है 1.01 भी तो आता है। So the list is not going to end. So this is very nice property of real numbers. This is called continuous property of real numbers और dense property of real numbers. Dense का मतलब इतना ज्यादा है कि मैं next real numbers नहीं guess कर सकती। Okay, the next property which is very nice property जो हम daily life में use करते हैं, that is called law of trichotomy. Law of trichotomy. What do we mean by this? It means that if I have two real numbers, ये तीन चीजें होंगी, ठीक है? या तो ए और बी बराबर होंगे, या ए बी से छोटा होगा, या ए बी से बड़ा होगा। दिस इज कॉल्ड लॉ ऑफ ट्राइकोटॉमी। दैट मीन्स इफ आई हैव टू रियल नंबर्स, आई विल always be able to tell that whether they are equal, which one is lesser, which one is bigger. I will never be confused. I will always have an answer. And this is called law of trichotomy. And this also indicates well ordering property, WOP, well ordering property of real numbers. So what is वेल ऑर्डरिंग प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ रियल नंबर्स? इट टेल्स यू कि अगर मैं आपको 10 रियल नंबर दे दूं, सो यू विल बी एबल टू अरेंज देम इन एन इंक्रीजिंग और डिक्रीजिंग ऑर्डर, एंड दैट इज व्हाई वी नीड देम। हमारे पास इतना सारा डेटा है। फॉर एग्जांपल, व्हेन वी प्रिपेयर रिपोर्ट कार्ड्स ऑफ क्लास स्टूडेंट्स, सपोज आई हैव 50 स्टूडेंट्स in my class and I want to know who topped my class, and I want to know which is the person who needs most attention from the teacher. How will I know? I will come to know by well ordering property of real numbers. So in short, real numbers are very beautiful, and as a math teacher, I am telling you, they are very beautiful because they are very useful. We are using them in our daily life, and real numbers are very important because they are satisfying such nice properties, well ordering property, law of trichotomy. So when you go to advanced level mathematics, you go to the concept of complex number, that is 2D, where we lose well ordering property. So real numbers structure is that structure that preserves well ordering property, and you all have seen why they are very, very important. So this was real numbers from my side, and I hope you understood everything. And in case of any comments, please put them in the chat box, and I'll be glad to explain it further in my next class. Thank you very much. See you in the next class.